Selection Sunday is tomorrow, which means March Madness is here, which means it's time to talk some NBA draft prospects. We've reacted to some mock drafts in the past from ESPN and others, but now it's time to give my first official 2024 NBA mock draft, as some of these players are going to be lighting it up in the big stage with the NCAA tournament. So let's look at where the draft stands now before these guys really get on that big stage for everyone to see. But make sure you are subscribed to the channel because, well, more subscribers equals more NBA draft content. At least that's what the bosses tell me. The goal on this video is 20 subscribers. If we get there, we'll be able to do more draft content, specifically another NBA mock draft after the NCAA tournament, so we can see how the players performed and how their stock changed. Let's jump into it right now with the number one pick, and this is coming from Tankathon, so don't shoot the messenger if you don't like where the draft order is, at least as of filming. I'm putting Alex Sarr at that number one spot. The guy is just a freak. 7'1" from France, Perth Wildcat currently right now. He's 18 years old, born in 2005. By the way, that's just ridiculous to say that out loud. But he can absolutely erase shots inside. Averages 1.5 blocks a night, just about 10 points. But to me, it's his athleticism and ability to get off the floor rapidly in multiple successions. Like, his second jump is just flat out ridiculous in my opinion. He's developing a little bit of a shot, 30%, but considering the Wizards got rid of Daniel Gafford, they're going to need a big man and pair him up with Kyle Kuzma inside. I think Alex Sarr is my 1-1 in this draft. Zaccharie Risacher heading to Detroit. Yeah, he's a forward. He can also play small ball center if you need. He's 6'8", but he's super, super lengthy. I'm a big fan of his game. One thing that really stands out to me is his ability to shoot the rock for his size, 44.6% from beyond the arc while playing for J.L. Bourg. Him and Jalen Duren inside could be a very nice pairing alongside Cade Cunningham, and I would be very intrigued to see a big four of Risacher, Duren, Ausar Thompson, Cade Cunningham. I think that's a pretty solid crew. The slam dunk pick, in my mock draft opinion, would be Nikola Topic heading to the San Antonio Spurs. Why, you ask? Well, it's pretty evident that Victor Wembanyama needs a point guard to run a pick and roll with in San Antonio. Trey Jones is solid, but really hasn't flashed the ability to be a big-time player and someone who could win in the postseason. Topic, coming over from Serbia, is a very, very talented player, 6'7", so he's got size to him, and I am just picturing a pick and roll between Topic and Victor Wembanyama because Topic is one of the best playmakers in the draft. This one should be a no-brainer for me, at least as things currently stand. What say you? Who is the best player in this 2024 NBA draft? It's a little sad that I've gone 3 players and I still don't have a collegiate player coming off the board, but hey, there's just more and more talent on a global stage, I should say. It's worldwide now. I love that everyone's getting involved in the game, and I'm definitely thinking this is going to be a European top of the draft. Let's move over to number 4, where my first collegiate player does come off the board in the form of Cody Williams, the forward from Colorado. He's actually the younger brother of Jalen Williams, the current wing for the Oklahoma City Thunder. He's super athletic, 6'8", needs to put some meat on his bones, only 190 pounds, but a talented freshman for the Buffaloes. And to me, if you pair him up with Brandon Miller, you really create, or at least have the potential to create, one of the best 1-2 punches at a younger level with that wing position. Then you get LaMelo Ball into things. Maybe Mark Williams starts to come up for the Hornets. Then you could really start to build something over in Charlotte. One of my favorite players in the draft, Matas Bazulis, the forward that's currently in the G League Ignite. He is a do-it-all player for me. He's not going to wow you with anything specifically, but he is just overall good at everything. 6'10", 195. He's 19 years old. He's averaging 13.7 points per game at the G League level, but he is very good at erasing shots. 6'10". I really like his ability to play defense and offense, all-around player. Rob Dillingham, the guard from Kentucky, one of 2 guards for the Wildcats that are going to go in the top 10. Both of them will. Reed Sheppard coming up in just a bit here. But I like Dillingham's fit with Grizzlies quite a bit. And I know you're not supposed to take players on fit, but with Ja Morant coming back, you have Desmond Bane in that backcourt already. a scoring punch off the bench could benefit the Grizzlies quite a bit. Dillingham draws a lot of comparisons to Lou Williams. I also see a little Bones Highland in his game as well, which probably isn't the best comp if you're thinking of taking someone top 10, but Dillingham could flat out score off the bench, would be the great sixth man as a rookie right away from Memphis. We're going back to San Antonio here, and I really like this fit of Jacoby Walter, the freshman from Baylor. He's got an absolute strap on him. Only shooting 33% from the three, but I project that to be much higher in the NBA because I really like his shot form. He's also 6'5". He releases the ball at a very high level. And the true mark of a good shooter to me is free throw percentage, 84% free throw shooter. So he is a better shooter than he says. Pair him up at the 2/3 with Vassell. You already get Topic, Walter, Vassell, and then Wembanyama big four. Sign me up for that in San Antonio. Here is Reed Sheppard, number 8. I have a hard time slotting him in places because I think he is fantastic. He is shooting a ridiculous 51.7% from beyond the arc, 53.5% from the field, 84 from the line. He is one of the most efficient basketball players in the entire country, not at the NBA level, I should say. He's 6'3". He's also a hell of a defender, 2.6 steals per game. He just plays basketball the right way. And to me, I don't think he's going to be someone who flashes and is going to be a top 2 player on a championship team, but he could be a Derek White-esque 4th or 5th guy. He would be a perfect addition in Houston. Speaking of March Madness, I just got 3 collegiate players off the board who will win the NCAA tournament. I've gone back and forth. My preseason pick was the Arizona Wildcats. They're likely going to be a 2 seed. I think I'm kind of leaning towards the Tennessee Volunteers right now. Let me know down below who y'all got in March Madness. Speaking of the Tennessee Volunteers, well, it's because they have this guy right here, Dalton Knecht, and I'm a little bit higher than him than others. He's ranked on 11th. I've seen him 15th on some NBA big boards from experts. I would have him in my top 10 because he could score the basketball. He's as good as it gets, 20 points per game for the Volunteers, 48% from the field, 40% from 3. He can be a movement shooter. He could be a scoring initiator for any team. Getting him in Utah to pair up with Keontae George, Lauri Markkanen, and Taylor Hendricks would be quite the pairing for me. Ron Holland, who was actually the projected number 1 pick, at least alongside Isaiah Collier coming into the season, now falls to 10 here. Still super talented, very, very athletic. I think Ron Holland's ceiling is very high. The question is he going to be able to reach that ceiling? He also has a very low floor. Hawks take the chance right here at 10. Go to UConn and the Huskies freshman guard Stephon Castle heading to the OKC Thunder. The Thunder just continue to have a bunch of picks, right? And to me, the best way to go about using those picks is to trade them. But if they keep them, why not take high upside guys like Stephon Castle? He is getting better every single day for Dan Hurley and the Huskies. I think he has the chance to be one of the better two-way players in the NBA. They drafted a similar player like Cason Wallace last season. I wouldn't hate if they went back to that spot with Stephon Castle. Another Husky, Donovan Clingan. Vucevic stinks in Chicago. They need a new big man ASAP. Donovan Clingan, I'm skeptical about how he'll translate to the next level, but this seems to be the consensus on where Clingan will go in the NBA draft. He's 7'2", 280. He's just absolutely rejects shots with more than 2 blocks per game. I really like what Donovan Clingan can bring to the floor. I'm also a big fan of Kyle Filipowski, another big man from Duke. He has a ceiling of Lauri Markkanen, if you're asking me. Portland is going to have to start rebuilding. I like their backcourt of Scoot Henderson, Shaedon Sharpe, Anfernee Simons. They need more help in that front court. They got Jeremy Grant, but he likely could be shipped off this offseason if they want to go with a youth movement. Kyle Filipowski is someone I really, really like. What I really, really like is Prize Picks, and it's the #1 daily fantasy sports app on the market, and you should get started with them today if you haven't already because you are missing out. They're also offering you a first deposit match up to $100 when you go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS. March is here. No more football, but the hardwood is heating up. So get started today. You can now win up to 100 times your money with as little as 4 correct picks, turning 10 into $1,000 with NBA, NHL, and college basketball entries on Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. And if you did NHL or NBA, Well, guess what? You can actually get injury insurance. What does that mean? Well, your entries stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. For NBA games, if your player who exits the game in the first half and does not return in the second half, that player projection won't count against you and the rest of your entry stays live. They're one of the only daily fantasy sports apps to do that. I also enjoy Prize Picks because they allow you to do season-long entries. I'm going to the MLB, which starts up in a couple weeks. I got more than on Pete Alonso, 42.5 homers for the season. I'll go less than on Mookie Betts, 32.5 home runs. This is why I love Prize Picks. They give you daily picks to go from, but you can also do season-long totals. They also offer demons, goblins, which allow you to raise your payout but increase your risk, but lower your payout and lower your risk. They really offer it all. So get started today, download the app, and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. If you don't want to download the app, guess what? You can just go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS to get that first deposit match up to $100. They're really offering it all over at Prize Picks. All right, last pick of the lottery here. Isaiah Collier, the point guard from USC, heading to the New Orleans Pelicans. They still don't have a clear point guard. It's like C.J. McCollum, Brandon Ingram, Zion all handling the rock. They have Herb Jones and Trey Murphy. They need a true point guard, and as I mentioned earlier, Collier had number one pick potential coming into this collegiate season. 6'4", very athletic, inefficient right now, but if he develops a jump shot, look out. I love the fit in New Orleans. The Miami Heat, well, what are they going to do? Because they need a guard, and Collier, if he's there, would make a lot of sense. But I have them going Ryan Dunn here. They're likely going to lose Caleb Martin and Haywood Highsmith in free agency this upcoming year. So replenishing that wing defense position off the bench is probably going to benefit them very greatly. Ryan Dunn, 6'8", lengthy wingspan, the best defender, in my opinion, in this entire NBA draft class. He just has zero offense. Very, very similar to Jared Vanderbilt right now. Jared McCain, the guard from Duke, heading to the Toronto Raptors. The Raptors absolutely need guard help. McCain has been coming on as of late for the Blue Devils. I like his fit for the Raptors as they look to build around Scotty Barnes and company. How about Johnny Furphy heading to the Philadelphia 76ers here at 17? He's come on super as of late, really rising over the past 2 or 3 weeks as Kevin McCullough has went to the bench. He's a freshman. He's 6'9". He has the best shot form, in my opinion, in this entire NBA draft. I can watch him shoot, catch and shoots from beyond the arc for 24 hours straight. Look at that high arc release you see on screen right now. Kid's got an absolute strap. Kaishan George, another riser here in the draft process, the freshman from Miami who really came out of nowhere. The Magic already have a couple solid wings in Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner. They need some guard help, in my opinion, but I don't love what's on the board in this mock draft, so take the high upside forward coming off the bench, and if he hits, you could have 3 of the best forwards in the entire NBA. Kevin McCullough Jr. going to the Knicks here. They have back-to-back picks. You could actually flash this next one. We'll talk about him here in unison. McCullough Jr. out of Kansas, who has been in and out of the lineup with injury, and Tajani Saloon. They have 2 picks. If they keep both of them and don't ship them off for some other talent or already in the NBA, I think McCullough Jr. is a good pick because he's Jaime Jaquez Jr.-like, where he can come in and impact your team right away on defense and offense. But I also like taking a high upside guy like Tajani Saloon, who I'm lower on than others. Some people have him as a lottery pick. I don't really see it. I have him here at 20. But I like the veteran, like college player, and high upside player as these 2 picks for New York. Make the call for me. Who is going to win the NBA Finals? The Knicks having one of their best seasons in recent memory. Are they NBA Finals contenders? Probably not. I'm probably just going to roll with the Denver Nuggets. It might be the year of the back-to-back. Chiefs did it. Who knows? Let's move on here with Dylan Jones out of Weber State going to the Phoenix Suns. Another Weber State player heading to the draft. The Wildcats producing some talent already with Damian Lillard. Now Dylan Jones is going to be a player. He can do it all. I really like what he is going to do. And he's a good role player. That's why I have him going to Phoenix. Let's go to Tyler Smith here. Not our own Tyler Smith. I feel like I say that joke every time, but I don't care because I think it's funny personally. Going to the Atlanta Hawks. He is, it's hard to get too excited about him. I don't know. There's a lot of upside, but I just don't know if he's going to be able to reach it. I'm not sold on his ability to score the ball. He's averaging 13 points a game for the G League Ignite now. He's 19 years old. 6'11". He has potential, but who knows? Yves Missi, the center from Baylor. I actually really like how the Pelicans fared, I should say, coming out of this mock draft, as I had them taking Isaiah Collier early, a freshman, now Baylor center Missi. Listen, they're going to need a young center as Valanciunas is continuing to get older and older over there in NOLA. So I like Missi coming over from Baylor. He can absolutely protect the rim. Devin Carter, the guard from Providence. And when you see these teams that are very experienced in win-now mode, expect them to draft more older collegiate players that can come in and contribute right away rather than young guys. Carter, who's been around the block for the Providence Friars, started his career actually with the Gamecocks in South Carolina. He's just a winning player. He does whatever it takes to win, like what he brings to the table. He's been averaging 19 points a game for the Friars this season while shooting 39% from three. Let's move on to Tristan Da Silva, another Buffalo inside our first round here. Ironic that they're also barely going to make the NCAA tournament, and they might not even make it if we're going to be honest. But two NBA guys, Da Silva can be someone who really comes off the bench as a good defensive player. He's a senior. He's an older prospect, but he gets 1.1 steals per game. He's 6'9". He can move well on the defensive side of the floor. Freshman Colin Murray Boyles from the South Carolina Gamecocks. And on the flip side, see, the Wizards, they need to rebuild, and we're going to go younger players for them. He's been averaging 10 points a game for the Gamecocks. He's 6'7", 231. He's still got some meat on those bones. Not really a three-point shooter, more of a banger inside, but he is going to be a first-round pick, in my opinion. Tyler Kolek, which I would argue is my favorite pick in my mock draft, heading to Minnesota, the veteran lefty guard from Marquette. He is one of the best playmakers and high IQ players in this draft process. You put him behind Mike Conley for a year or two as he signed an extension, Kolek could come out on the other side looking like an absolute home run pick in the later first-round draft. Kel'el Ware, the center from Indiana, going to the Utah Jazz. He reminds me, if you just head back 1 year in the NBA draft process, to Noah Clowney coming from the Alabama Crimson Tide. Ware, very athletic, lengthy, needs to add some weight, can protect the rim at an elite level. He is an absolute shot blocker, averaging 2 blocks a game for the Hoosiers. He also has a little bit of a three ball. Doesn't shoot them often, very low volume, but shooting 42.5% from beyond the arc. PJ Hall, someone who's a really good spacer, just makes a lot of sense for the Denver Nuggets. Get him behind Aaron Gordon. He's a forward at that 4 spot. Him and Jokic would be very fun because he's 6'10". He can really space the floor. He's a good off-ball cutter, finishes inside well, shooting 49% from the field for the Tigers. I'm a big fan of PJ Hall's potential fit with the Nuggets. Rounding out our mock draft, Deron Holmes, the center from the Dayton Flyers out of the A-10. I like Holmes, and I think the Celtics will target, if they keep this pick, a center as Al Horford continues to get up there in age. Kristaps Porzingis is always injury-prone. Getting a natural center that's better than Luke Kornet and Neemias Queta would probably benefit them greatly. I like Holmes over Zach Edey. This is who the picks would be between because Holmes is more athletic. To me, he's as good as a defender, averaging 2.2 blocks a game at 6'10". He's also averaging 20 for the Flyers. He is been very, very good, leading Dayton to a top 25 ranking, actually, for the most of this college season. That'll do it for our mock drafts. Grade it for me down below if you want A, B, C, D, or F. I'm sure I'll get a couple Fs, but I thought it was a pretty fun mock draft. A lot of high upside players, a lot of experienced collegiate guys, but also subscribe because if you want more of this content leading up to the draft in late June, well, got to hit that sub button, and I'll see you on the next one.